So for the students who are coming for the first time, I just think like I need to give my introduction as Satish Lanki. For all the other students who are associated with me previously, directly or indirectly, I don't think you need any great introduction through the process. Now what exactly we are going to do and how exactly we are going to do the things, as the time rolls down, we'll start understanding. Let us not worry about that. So any personal introductions, I don't think they are important in the starting class. Once we start speaking, we'll start coming to know about one another, and that itself shows us how much we'll start moving in the professional state and how much we'll be into the intellectual state of the industrial requirements. Now, anytime we are coming into the process of Oracle, maybe sitting in this particular class at this time, we are definitely going to discuss about Oracle, no doubt about it. But whenever we start talking about Oracle, what exactly we are thinking of doing with Oracle now? So I don't just believe in Oracle directly. Why? Because it's one kind of company that is well established and it is having multiple different number of products that have been developed, and these all products are well marketed in the world, and 80% of the any rich database management system software applications are totally in the control of Oracle Corporation. So if we are thinking about Oracle Corporation, I don't think we'll get any benefit now because they are well off with the process. So learning this particular technology that is provided by Oracle, what best we can do as far as our career is concerned. That's where our concentration should be, I hope so. In the initial stages, I just don't want to speak anything about Oracle because as we go down through the process, it will tell us, our training process will tell us what best we can do with Oracle and what best the things we can just apply by making use of the products that are provided by Oracle. But in all this concept, I always concentrate on one specific component that is very important for us to be part of the industry, and that's where we are saying that we are database management system developers. So if you are sitting in this class and you're saying that you want to come into IT, every day when I'm speaking with you, I'll be encouraging you to understand how you can make a wonderful life being a database management system developer in the field of IT. Now the core concentration will be not just how we can get the job, but throughout the course we'll be keeping a main focus and concentration on how we can start keeping the job with high level security and consistency that is expected now. So down the line, what I always personally feel is, as a fresher, if you are entering into the IT industry, can you keep your job for a span of minimum 3 years without having any kind of confusion and any kind of insecurity? Now if you are any person who is sitting in this class trying to keep experience from your resume, now it can be 1 year, 2 years or 3 years or more than that. Now there I always try to say, like, if you are a working professional already in the industry, now definitely if you are undergoing this training means there is some kind of gap that you feel like you are having in your current career, you want to patch and you want to fill that very properly so that you can find a more secure career. So as an experienced person, what you have to learn when you are saying that you want to be part of the database management systems field, as a fresher, what exactly you need to really know if you want to take your first level of your job and first career to be started very effectively and confidently into the IT industry. There are many number of questions that could be coming in and around. If you are a fresher, the general fundamental question I will always be having from freshers is, sir, my percentage is this, my academic background is this, now can I have a job in the IT sector? Now your percentage is good, your percentage is bad, that doesn't matter unless and until the current technology what you are trying to do, that also you don't do it in a very proper way. No doubt, good companies, they definitely demand you should be having more than 60%, the good percentage like 70-75 is a good job, nothing like that. There are no such promises. No, top MNCs definitely say that you need to have a true career of above 60%. But I don't think all the companies in the world should be top MNCs only. If my academic career is bad, I can start from a middle level company. If my academic career is very bad, I can even start from a startup or a small low level company for my first level career. Now once you are into your job, and there if you start proving yourself, your academics have nothing to do with IT industry. So all the fundamental questions that you may be having in your mind, we will be clarifying them day by day as we are moving down the course. I don't want to keep them all consolidated into one place and make it a big session only for that purpose now. Let us see the positive side of what exactly IT can give us. And being a database management system developer, how best I can pick up my career, it's not just going to be a single day story now. Unless and you're not experiencing what is database management systems, whatever I say can be an exaggeration. So what I personally feel from my side is, what I say, rather than you believe it, it's better as I'm going through the course, you start experiencing it. If you start experiencing it, it's your faith and it's your belief. If you start listening to what I say and you just believe me, then that's not your experience and your exposure. Why? Because finally when you're sitting in front of your interviewers, you have to speak your experience. You cannot speak about my experience. You have to speak the technology the way the industry is expecting from you. You cannot speak the technology the way I am telling you. So every class what we are going to conduct here is definitely going to make us move towards a more experienced state of understanding the databases by the sense and perspective of how exactly industry is going to implement them or how exactly industry is going to apply them. Anyhow, in the first class itself, I don't think we can start building any kind of impressions. When we are associating with one another for few sessions, as we go on discussing with one another every day, in a span of time, you will definitely try to understand what I am trying to tell you and what exactly you are going to do. It's a state of practicality. Taking you in my first class, I can always say, Oracle is really wonderful, databases are really awesome, you have a great wonderful life behind this. All of these things are okay, but how you can believe them? My words cannot be a constructive belief, I hope so. That should be a practicality and reality at the same time. So let me not make you believe anything because I am saying, the only thing what I request in my first class itself is, as I am speaking with you, you have to participate along with me, and whatever I am trying to say, you have to apply that, practice and make it get experienced. After some time, even if I tell you, please don't concentrate and practice databases, you'll never listen. Because once you start understanding what exactly you are trying to do and why you are doing it, even if I stop you, you'll never stop. So, my first few classes in the sense, definitely my first 1 week, it is an area where we will try to make ourselves understand why we have to become database developers. One of the biggest questions I'll be having is, when so many number of technologies are existing in the world, starting from machine language to anything you call in the latest as your Java or Python, whatever you consider, why we have to start with the databases? When we have announced this particular course and maybe one of your friends told you, taking the information from us, you just started making yourself present here. Other than 2% of the students who are sitting in this class, definitely 98% of the students and me, we are new faces to one another. But keeping yourself very new to me, how exactly you can start believing that this can be definitely a course that can take you to your requirement of your career? Means somebody has guided you, no doubt. Maybe it's your friend, or maybe it's one of your family member, or maybe whom you consider he is an elder than you, or maybe somebody who's working in the industry. Anybody it could be, or maybe you had your own personal view that, because if you're coming from IT sector or academics from IT, maybe you had your own personal view that learning databases could be better for me. Now whatever it is, finally what I say is, anybody who has suggested you to take databases, he has not done a mistake. But if you don't do databases the way it has to be done as expected by the industry, then that will become your mistake. So just because sitting in this class and listening to me every day for a span of 1 hour, no wonders will happen. You have to definitely take every instruction what I am trying to give you in the class, and I am just making you work the way you have to work to the industry, you have to definitely spend the time. In a world where we believe very seriously that learning is very easy, especially we Indians have one kind of wrong notion that learning is very easy. I'm not denying that. But can we finally say working can be made much easy? You have been learners for the past 16 years in your academics, I hope so. For all the pressures who are coming out of your college, 16 years you have been in the education system only. You have been learning continuously many number of things. Then why you felt that you need to learn once again something new or one more technology like this? So learning is one of the aspects, but once your learning process has been completed, you have to take the second level, that is nothing but implementation. After completing this particular course from this particular class, if you are not gaining the confidence that you can implement what you learned in this particular class properly to the expectation of the industry according to the projects in which you are going to work, your whole lot of your time and money what you are spending in this class is absolutely lost. So sitting in this class, you want to be in the mindset of, I want to learn this technology. I definitely discourage all those particular people in my first class itself. If you are sitting in this particular class, please keep an attitude. If you are learning this technology, then definitely you are getting ready to implement and apply this technology for the sake of a real-time requirement what industry is going to demand from you. Industry don't request you, we demand. Because I have a problem, can you provide me a solution? The simple contract between you and the industry is, industry will give you the problems and can you have the guts to provide the solutions or not? You cannot tell the industry, I know so many number of commands in Oracle. Industry says, how many commands you know, I don't care. For the problem what I have, do you know which commands you can implement and you can get me the solution? You have 1,000 commands with you, but you cannot get the solution what I'm expecting out of the problem. I don't care you. I don't care you because you are a person who is not suitable to my requirement because you don't know how to get the solution out of the problem what my client is expecting. So if you are coming from the academic backgrounds, the only thing what I generally suggest you is, if you sit in this class like a student, you'll never do any wonders. Because a student always has one mindset, the course will complete, exam will be conducted, 35 marks should come. Industry has no mark sheet anywhere, okay? Industry never follows any specific syllabus also. Why? Because projects can never be done with syllabus. Projects can be done only by implementation and integration of everything what you learn out of that particular syllabus. So in the first class itself, I want you to make it very clear, sir, my journey is only to make my career and to get a wonderful job in the industry. For that purpose, I'm trying to sit in this class. I think I'm a very comfortable person for you. If your mind is not to have a good job and you're not clearly focused with what kind of career you want to have in databases, I'm the most inconvenient person for you because your focus is different, my focus is different now. So, do you have a clarity why you are shaking your hands with me from today on the concept of the databases? Even if you are having any kind of ignorance in coming down with this particular course, within a week of time, I'll make many number of things clear. In a week of time, you feel you're looking comfortable, then I think our journey goes in a very proper way. So the final point of discussion from this particular classroom till the end of the entire course is how we can make a great career out of databases. Why I'm saying this is, today you started your database training from this class. But like you, thousands of people are also getting trained in databases in multiple different number of other places. Anywhere you go and learn databases, it will be in the same way. Because I'm not inventing database. I'm only presenting you with the database. So what commands I will teach you, what subject I will keep in front of you, which topics I will definitely associate with you, these all things are same. Anywhere you go and start learning databases. Then what is the difference between you and the people who are sitting somewhere else and they are trying to say that they are database developers? If we cannot make at least 40% of difference by the time we complete this particular course compared with the other people in presenting database in the best way as expected by the industry, then I don't think this place can do any great difference in your life. So, day by day we have a calculation how we are making ourselves look different than the other people who are trying to learn databases anywhere in the world. And finally, once we get into the job and if a problem is given to us, you're not the only one person who is trying to do that particular problem in the company. In a project, as less as 5 members in a team to as maximum as 1500 members also can be there, depending on the size and the scalability of the project. Now you're in the team of 5 members or you're in the team of 1500 members, I don't care. But when you are part of the project, can you definitely feel that you are one of the best brain in that particular piece of the project? Such that if anything goes wrong in your company and your company is having a situational decision to be taken that it has to remove at least 20% of the employees immediately to sustain by itself, can you feel that your name definitely never exists in that 20%? So day one to day last, our entire concentration will be only one thing, not how to get the job. I'm never going to tell you how you should get your job. Throughout the course, we are only going to concentrate on if you get your job, how you should keep your job. Why? Because after having 16 years of education, which can be graduation or post-graduation, nobody in the world can stop you from getting the job. That's what I definitely feel. My education can definitely make me get one job. But after I get the job, how many number of years I can keep the job in a corporate private sector? If it's government sector, that's a different aspect. And if you're really aiming for government sector, I don't think you would have come into this market. You're in this market, definitely understanding that you're going to have your job in corporate sectors that are run by private institutions. In private institutions, we have only one thing in focus. At the end of the day, can you make my bank balance to increase or not? Early in the morning, I will look into my bank balance in the capital. By the end of the day, I will once again take a difference of my bank balance in the capital. Do I find the balance sheet to be looking better than early in the morning when you came into my company and started working? Anywhere my expected focus to my balance sheet is missing, I'll immediately tell my financial managers, find the reasons why we did not get through the targets for today. My financial managers will send a message to the operational managers saying that I just want reasons from your operational environment. What was the reason not to get these targets, what we have to get today in the financial process? The moment the operational managers will tell the reasons, because of these reasons we were unable to get the targets what we expected today. The next immediate thing from the financial manager will be, find the people who are looking practically the reason for this particular process of failure. The moment we get the names of those people, I think our decisions are very clear. We don't encourage at least one human being in private sector who is the reason for my targets to be getting into the loss. We don't definitely need those people. So when you are coming, it's not to make scaring. Okay, fact is a fact. You have to understand that very clearly. I'm telling you. So sitting in this class, by the time we complete the course, can you feel that you are the best in competition to the process of implementing databases? So if I really want to become a database developer, sir, what I should be? So what qualification I need? These are some questions I have about qualifications, and any other things I'll speak later. But one thing what I want to say in my first class is, anybody with any academic qualification can become a database developer. Database development or being a database developer doesn't need any special qualification. The only one single qualification it needs is, can you understand the business and its process? The simple common sense to become a database developer is, can we understand the business and its process in execution? If we are able to understand these things, then 150% we are definitely suitable for becoming database developers. So if I'm not wrong, majority of the people who are sitting in this particular class, I hope you are definitely coming from minimum graduation. Now that could be technical or non-technical, that doesn't matter for me. Maybe a few percentage of the students could be postgraduates also. With all the educational qualification you had, how best we had, let us not worry about that. But we could have developed minimum common sense out of our 16 years of our education, what business looks like. So when we are very clear how exactly the process of a business looks like, then I don't think learning databases and becoming proficient in databases will be difficult for us. But how best we can polish our exposure with what we already know. I'm not saying that you're absolutely layman and you don't know anything in the world. That's exaggeration. I'm definitely conscious that I'm speaking to well-educated professionals who are sitting in this particular class. So it's exaggeration if I say you don't know anything. You know many number of things. The only thing that you may not be knowing is what you know is exactly used in the industry in which way. That is the only small confusion you could be having, that's all. If we can polish ourselves to what we already know, keeping it in the perspective of exactly what the industry is expecting or exactly the way the industry is implementing, then I can definitely say we are one best set of professionals what industry is expecting to be. But in this whole process, my responsibility is there, I'm not saying that, but at the same time, your responsibility also follows very seriously. Why? Because me speaking in the class is important. You listening to that particular class, understanding and then practicing is more important. There will be generally certain questions for me in my starting classes, so I want to make them clear. Generally these questions come from last 4 to 5 years from students, like they say, sir, without having great practice, can you tell me how I can become part of IT? If anybody said it's possible, you are getting yourself fooled, I'll tell you. There is no easy method to become part of the IT sector. There's no easy way to be part of your industry as a computer science programmer. If anybody is telling you that's your headache and his headache to believe and understand and go through it. But if you are asking me in my 22 years career, I can definitely tell you, even today when I'm working in my projects, I will struggle the same way what I was struggling on my first day when I entered into this industry. The only difference is my level of logical pressure will be at my level. Your level of logical pressure will be at your level. As your experience goes on increasing, your confidence to do any work will increase. But logical easiness will not increase. It is as same and almost all, maybe sometimes more critical than what you did yesterday, because when you are experienced in something, I don't think I'll give you a simple job. I'll give you more tougher job. Because you are experienced, I expect something better from you. I don't expect the same thing what you did yesterday from you. These are the facts. So, There is no shortcut at any point of time. If anybody says within IT, without putting our effort and struggle, we can make ourselves survive. So there is some plan, there is some kind of methodology, there is some kind of mechanism, and there is a particular approach we have to definitely adapt if we want to become part of this industry and stay there with high level security and keep ourselves in the focus state of a scalability and a very high level reliable career. You will find many number of times people saying that IT is an insecure field. It is a big trash. There is no reality in that. If IT is an insecure field, it will never exist in the world for almost all 50 years, man. All the IT companies in the world could have closed by this time. People who say IT is an insecure career are the only people who never learned anything properly and who never know how to do the things effectively. It's as simple as this. See, I am a private businessman and I have a focus on my profits, and I am recruiting you into my company and I will pay you salary. At the end of the month, if I am giving you 50,000 rupees salary, I'll definitely expect minimum 2.5 lakh rupees of bill out of your work from my client. I don't expect 25,000 rupees work from you and give you 50,000 rupees salary. We are not doing any social service in the world. First understand this. Let us understand commercials very carefully first of all. Even if you are doing the business, you'll do it in the same way. So you are always expecting salary. Then why I should not expect my profits? I am not producing money from anywhere. So I cannot give salaries to my employees out of my pockets. Your work is presented to my client releases the bill. From that particular bill, if the bill looks better than what I am paying you, I am happy. If the work what you have done is looking less than what I am paying you, I am not happy. First month I can excuse, second month then I can excuse, third month definitely I will remove you. So where is the concept of insecurity here, man? We are one kind of nation where we feel that if somebody gives me a job, he should not remove me. Sorry gentlemen, that's the only reason after 70 years also we are not a developed nation, we are developing. The scorecards are changing, first understand this. The scorecards of any industry are changing. You are an employee in my company, I will definitely expect profits out of your work. The day I feel you're not giving me the outputs the way I'm expecting, I can't keep you. So where is the question that somebody says IT is insecure? You go anywhere, 150% you'll have this insecurity. Sir, I don't want this insecurity. Stop all this process, prepare for any government examination, get inside. To become a government employee, you should be very intelligent. After that, you don't need to have any intelligence. 59 years to 60 years guaranteed. So don't look into the system with that kind of security, I'm telling you. So, in this field, you have to work. I will only try to tell you from my day one how you should work. You have to mentor yourself and you have to definitely work in that particular way. You cannot raise a complaint. Sir, when I joined your course, I never felt that I have to work this much. That's the reason in my first class itself I'm telling you. Because by tomorrow, if anybody feels that if I have to work, why I should learn any course, those people will not come. I'll be very happy. Rather than make you sit for 10-15 days, take your fees, and after that I'll say like, no, you have to work. No, you're also not happy, I'm also not happy. Anywhere in the world you can find a place where you can just listen, but you don't need to practice, and you can get your job and you don't have any particular pressure. You can go and sit there and you can start learning your technology. But if you are sitting in these four walls, every day I will tell you, you have to definitely put your pressure and you have to work the way the industry expects from you. Why? Because if you don't know what industry does from this classroom, after you get into the industry, 1 hour work you will take 10 hours, but we will give you only 1 hour. That's how people say There is a pressure in IT industry. There is no pressure. You want to do the work in 5 hours, I will give you the work which can be completed in 2 hours. So my timeline is 2 hours, your timeline is 5 hours. I don't follow your timeline, I'll follow my timeline. So when I am putting you into the pressure of completing the work in 2 hours, where you are saying it's 5 hours, you are in pressure. So learn how to complete 5 hours work in 2 hours. So can we just do that? That's what I said. Anything you have to trust me for few days. After that you don't need to trust me, because the way we start learning the course, many things will get realized. So when you want to make yourself get into Oracle and you want to work as a database developer, there are certain things I just want you to understand very properly. Now you are doing your Oracle for which purpose? I just don't want to give any reasons immediately. But one thing what I say is, you're always working for something that is basically called as a system. Certain terms what I am picking up, if you are already a computer science graduate, these terms are very clear to you. And if you are a non-IT student, your concentration should be very, very high. Be very, very clear to those constructs. So sitting in this class, if you are saying that you are trying to learn Oracle, now what I generally say is, you are learning your Oracle to see that you can apply your logic and intelligence for a system. So what is exactly meant by a system? Now in fundamental definition we can say anything. We can just say like classroom is a system. We can say school is a system. We can say hospital is a system. But these all things are not technical definitions. You are showing me something in the world and then you are saying this is a system. I am not interested in that way. When you are coming into the criteria and composition of the process, when you are coming into the criteria of the industry, we expect your definitions to be more conceptual. Means once you speak about a definition, the definition should fit anywhere where such kind of scenario is arising. So are you so generic when you are coming to the industry? So when I say it's a system, what I simply say is, it is any kind of environment that can be physical or logical. System is not something that's physical. It can be logical. So it is any kind of environment that is physical or logical which associates with its own boundary, which definitely associates with its own boundary for executing its operations. Now when I say boundary, what exactly I mean? Here boundary is not once again physical. Be very clear about that. It's very easy to make you believe the definition of a system with a boundary, saying that you are sitting in what? A classroom. This classroom is having 4 walls. So 4 walls are boundary. Now how civil engineering has something to do with the computer science engineering? We cannot take a definition like that. That's what I'm saying. For human beings' convenience, if we pick up definition, then we'll never become a IT developer. If I am saying that this is a classroom and I am saying these are the 4 walls that are having a boundary, then I don't think I am giving any kind of environmental definition that is looking suitable to the technology what we are learning now. It's no doubt a definition that can be looking suitable for a civil engineering construction. So logically, what is a system? When we say boundary, what it means? Why we need to have a boundary? And why a system always tries to adapt and exist by its boundary? To understand that, we need to just go with other things in the process. A system is always existing with a collection of objects. And why these objects are part of the system? They are part of the system to execute the events. Now when 2 objects are becoming part of any system, these objects will definitely execute an event at least by something what we call as communication. Whenever two objects are executing an event for interactive state of their existence in the system, they will definitely work within the system with an identified boundary. If that boundary is not existing, what happens? The system definitely fails because the objects will start misbehaving. The simple example is, let us just get into our human beings level now. See, you are an object who was existing in this world before 9 o'clock today. And after 9 o'clock, you entered into this particular system now. The moment you entered into this particular system, nobody was telling you how you should behave. Automatically, the moment you entered into this particular system's boundary, your whole behavior, attitude and your body language started changing. Nobody has instructed you that. Why? An object is highly intelligent by its existence whenever it is moving from one boundary to another boundary. As and when the boundary changes, the object's attitude of execution is also changing. Why? Because the boundary is trying to tell you what is the rule and the regulation with which the boundary is expecting you to participate. That's the only reason out of this particular class, what behavior you had, the moment you entered into this class, the same behavior you are not executing. The reason is the boundary logically is controlling you for your behavior and your attitude of implementation. Because you are sitting on that side as an object, expecting that you want to listen to the lecture. I sitting on this side as an object in the same boundary is sitting with a responsibility that I have to deliver the lecture. We both are in communication of one event called as a lecture. So, we both are in the control of that behavior because we are conscious, we are in a logical boundary called as a classroom. We are very clear that we are in a logical state of a system called as a classroom. If you do not feel convenient with what I am trying to communicate with you, means the communication what I am executing with you is not in the same protocol what you are expecting, then definitely you will never feel convenient to be part of this particular boundary as an object. There are only two things here. Either continue in the same boundary with the inconvenience or leave the boundary out of this inconvenience. This is what is the power of one system. So system is highly logical, which controls every object when it enters into the boundary of that particular system. This is happening every minute in your life. Every minute in your life it's happening. The moment I leave you from this class at 10 o'clock, the moment you're outside this class, I don't think you'll have the same behavior what you had in this class. Why? As an object you are same, but your behavior has changed because your boundary has changed. You start walking on the road and you are entering into your office, let us say after this class is completed. Your behavior what you had on the road before you entered into your office, the moment you scratch your card for attendance and you get in, your behavior is changing because the boundary is once again instructing you, you have now become an employee, so behave yourself. From morning till evening, every object in this world, when communicating with another object, it is always in a controlled protocol to communicate with that object. Why? Because both the objects understand the boundary in which they stay and they adjust their behavior according to that boundary, therefore they are able to communicate. We are the people who will design systems of this level of logical necessity. Means imagine how much intelligent we should be to understand the systems in the world, the objects that participate in those systems in the world, the boundary in which they exist for their communication, and execution, and how people can say database developers are very simple programmers in the world. The seriousness of the database is not known. It's very simple. Once the seriousness of the database is well known, even if somebody tells you, you be very simple, you can't be, because your mind says you are a very, very serious programmer for this world, because any logical mismatch you do, your whole system will fail. We will be the reason for any system's failure in real time, because we people are the framework engineers and the foundation engineers of any project that arises in the world. We are the first level people, definitely who will be working with the construct and composition. Be very, very clear about that. So database management systems is highly misguided, misunderstood, misinterpreted among the people, making database management system developers to get into one kind of notion that it is just a simple language to which we should go. Yes, our language, what we use, which is called as SQL, is very simple. But the systems what we develop in the world, they are not simple. We have to design, develop real-time systems to this world. Therefore, until we do not understand what is a system from our side, what wonders we can do? So, these systems, when they are existing in one place, every system will have its own individual boundary. The reason no two systems are same at any point of time. Sir, how you can say this? Sitting in the class as a student, your behavior is different. Leaving this class, getting into one hotel, your behavior is different. Leaving the hotel, getting into an auto, with the auto wala, your behavior is different. Coming out of your auto, getting into your company,